CNBC has partnered with Acorns, the saving and investing app, on financial wellness and education initiative called Invest in You. Ready, set, grow. Our next guest spends his Sundays chasing down quarterbacks as a linebacker for the New York Jets, but Brandon Copeland also likes to tackle the stock market. He graduated from the Wharton School in 2013, teaches a financial literacy course there in the off-season. He's also a member of our Wellness Financial Advisory Council and is here in studio. It's good to see you. Straight off of a Sunday victory.
Yeah, it makes today much easier. Right?
Well, I don't know. Maybe you wouldn't be here.
Yeah, exactly. Got a depressing cloud over the building. You know?
I listed, obviously we're having you on because you teach this financial literacy class and you graduated from Penn. Were you always interested in the market?
Yeah, I think I was always interested in money. And then once I saw that the market could help me make money by without having to run through wedges or make tackles or beat up my body, I think I became extremely interested then.
You did an internship at a hedge fund while in high school?
Yep, I did an internship at a hedge fund in high school, Samuel James Limited, and then in college I followed up on that with an internship at UBS, a couple internships there, and then since then I've also interned at George Weiss Multi-Strategy Advisors in New York, and I've done that a couple summers, but just continuing to grow, continuing to learn, and kind of.
How did Brandon Copeland become Professor Cope at Wharton?
Question. I think what really made me dive into that was the fact that I felt like as an athlete, I was always approached with opportunities, some for good, some for bad, for investing and taking my money and doing good things with it, bad things with it, et cetera. And the good things, I thought that it's a shame that the average person doesn't hear about this stuff, or it's a shame that I haven't heard about this stuff until you see my contract and now you want to approach me with these ideas. So the point of the financial literacy class is to, one, talk about these type of investments, but also more importantly, talk about the things that we all have to deal with in life that we just don't talk about. Buying a house, buying versus leasing a car, your credit, budgeting, all of these things that are realities and constants in life that we don't have a class on, I thought that I went to some very prestigious schools throughout my entire life. I've learned the sign of a 45-degree angle, but no one ever taught me how to buy my first house, how to budget properly, how to invest, all of that type of stuff. And I just think that that's kind of backwards. So, really took the dive in, head-on approach and became a professor to start teaching it.
1 day a week, 3 hours in the off season?
Yeah, 1 day a week, 3 hours, the long, boring class. So, you got to make sure you keep we keep the information fresh and entertaining and interactive. I think that's the most important thing. And then the biggest thing that we do is I'm interested in teaching others to be willing and comfortable to share this information. So instead of having a normal final exam, I made my college students split up into groups, and we brought high school students from Philly into the classroom, and the final exam was the college students teaching the high school students this information. So one, if you can teach it at a high school level, you have a pretty good grasp on it. But two, where does that conversation go from that high school kid now who just got excited about investing, right? When he takes that conversation home, how does that change his life? So we're trying to encourage people to just share this information.
Do you feel like what you're trying to do in the classroom has translated into the locker room? Are you a conduit to, financial literacy in the sports world too, do you feel? Do guys
100%.
coming to you and you going to them?
100%. I don't want to put that title or that cape on, so to speak, but guys are coming to me all the time and talking business, talking investments, insurance, all of that type of stuff, even as early as this morning and stuff like that, or as recent as this morning, having conversations about that stuff. And I think that that's pretty cool. I think that.
Brandon, how do we get this in the high schools and the freshman, sophomore years? Because that's where you got to start. Both.
Exactly.
And you got to take it for both male, female, and everyone else.
Yeah, exactly. I think that is my ultimate goal. So one of the things we're doing this semester is we're having our college students go into the high schools every 2 weeks now instead of them coming to us one time a year. But then also I'm working on an online platform as well where everyone can get this information on every single level. So, again, I think, like you said, college is too late. Not everyone is going to college. But how can we make these the most interesting conversations?
You got to mandate one class of financial mentoring for every somebody in high school somewhere in the country.
Right. That's where business can come in as well.
I mean,
those partnerships are incredibly important. As you said, you wouldn't have had the opportunity had those institutions not welcomed you in and allowed you to shadow. Even just being in the environment at Loop Capital Markets, we do that for high school, college students, and it's incredibly influential in communities.
Now, you took internships. How would you recommend to someone listening to this program to get somebody in there an internship? And the ones listening to the programs don't need the help.
Right.
How do I get to that grammar school, high school person in Chicago or Atlanta or New York, say, try to figure out how to go in and get an internship?
Yeah, I think if you're talking about from the person trying to get the internship, then one of the things I tell people all the time is being willing to take that risk and go out there, reach out on a limb and send that email, show up and say, hey, I'll just shadow you. Like, I don't want anything from you. I don't need to be paid. So many people, you want to be paid and all that type of stuff. But I think you will eventually reach that level, right? But just showing that, hey, I want this information. I'm investing in myself. The time is worth it, right? I think that's most important to trying to get your foot in the door, and then the rest can take care of itself. Pete?
And I got to tell you, I love what you're doing. You send out the disciples to preach the word and get out there and show guys how to fish and everything else. Mm-hmm. How about in the NFL itself? I love what you're doing with the lower end, the high schools, junior highs, all the rest of that. Yep. But how about the NFL? We read about it all the time. We all know all these guys are going bankrupt. Are you working with those guys in any way, shape, or form in terms of trying to get financial literacy? Yeah,
I think what we've done this off season is we've actually started a group of like-minded individuals, and we kind of keep each other abreast to information. We have a group threads and chats and Slack channels and all of that type of stuff. And, I think that's just the start, right? The problem is, one, even taking that back, there's a lot of guys out there who are doing the right thing, the Kelvin Beachums of the world, right? The Derek Morgans. There's a lot of guys out there doing the right thing, but those just don't make the headlines. So that's number one. Number two, I think that we are trying to do a better job of not taking that competitive mindset that we all have on Sunday and carrying that into Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, right? Like, just because we compete against each other on Sunday doesn't mean we need to compete against each other in terms of our finances and the things that we're doing off the field. So you're seeing the guys have a lot more collaborative efforts, but also sharing information when it comes to investing. And there was a guy on our team who's having his financial advisor over, and he just is inviting a bunch of guys over this afternoon. And he said, I don't even need you to work with my guy. I just want you to come listen and have a conversation. Right. That's awesome. So,
congratulations on all you're doing.
Thank you.
It's great.
Appreciate you being. You save 90% of your income?
That's what they say.
That's what you better say.
That's what they say.
And you manage your own portfolio, too.
Hey, Scott, that's pre-tax.
Best of luck on that and obviously the rest of the season with the Jets as well. That's Brandon Copeland joining us today. For more Invest in You, go to CNBC.com/Invest in You. It's CNBC.com/Invest in You. And one last thing, we should note that NBC Universal and Comcast Ventures are investors in Acorns.